So, welcome to this session today. This is CMT Tool 11, Object Oriented Programming 2. I want to believe it's Java. Or had you done Java? Hello?
No, it's Java. We've not done Java.
You looked for me. I wasn't in a position to take it, but because of your cry, uh, I've done my justice because of my busy schedule. Huh? Yeah, but we are here. We have to make it work. Um, our sessions will be mostly if mostly we agree whether to have it blended or to have it physical. Um, but even if it is blended or when we come online, you must be having two devices, one for following up the script and the other one is for coding on your platform. I want to believe so. Now, let's look at the course outline, what you're supposed to learn within that. I'll just give a brief part of it. I don't know if my screen is shared on your end or not. So, for this object oriented programming, you have done some things in object oriented one. I don't know whether you used C++ um, or Python. Now, in this area now is about Java because billions of devices across the world use Java. So you are supposed to learn about the introduction of Java, um, know about the history and the features of Java. You'll also learn the data types used in Java programming, variables and arrays in Java, Java operators, Java control statements, Java classes and methods, Java objects, Java constructors, and then now advanced part of inheritance, encapsulations, information hiding, polymorphism, packages and interfaces, and then you have the exemption handling threads. Within that, you'll also talk about the strings, input output statements, and then be able now to complete with the session. There are several books here that you can be able to look at, but I'll be able to cover as much as we could within that this time. or within the period. Having known what you are supposed to cover, then I'll go directly to introduce to you about Java so that we can be able to go through it in a very extensive manner. Uh, I've expanded that screen so that you can be able to see my screen well fully. So I want to believe that you are seeing that screen well. Is it true or you are not? All right. The agenda. I want us to cover several things here within a short period of time. One is the introduction, history of OOPs, history of Java, OOPs, objects and classes. Then we shall look at the object-oriented basic concepts, encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism with their definition of terms. Now, in brief, we talk about programming systems started some long time ago. And for us to have that, then we have to have what is called the breakthrough. And first of all, have what it stands by the term object oriented. So, for that to come out, then I'll have to give a brief for that lesson one or lecture one. Let me find something here. So that we can have a better starting point. Yes. Yes, that is it. Um, Java programming language was developed by Sun Microsystems, which was initiated by James Gosling, and it was released in 1995 with the first Java platform, which was the Java 2 Standard Edition. Java is broken into three main categories, like you'd wish to know that. We look at the J2SE, that is Java 2 Standard Edition, which is used to develop um, desktop applications and Java applets. Some of you have done the applications through Equity Recruitment Portal, Equity Bank, or Safaricom Recruitment Portal, even if it is the students or learner program, and some UN recruitment portals. When you are in those portals, they are not HTML based, they are not React based, but they are ASP based for Java applets. So Java Standard Edition is used for that, and all these desktop applications you see in the supermarkets, where and so on. Then from there, we had another release that was done for Java to enterprise applications or enterprise editions. So for enterprise editions, they are used to develop things like server systems, and very advanced, heavy softwares. Then there was need for small devices to be introduced in the market. That's when the development of small handheld and personal device programs were now released. When you have your small phone, we call it Kaduda. So when you have that small phone, you normally it uses Java, and you normally find there is an app called Java, just Java. So that is a small application that uses J2Me. J2Me. J2Me now is Java to mobile edition, to be able to use it to develop mobile based or handheld devices. That means that devices that are portable. So that is the breakdown of Java release and how it happened. Nowadays, we now have what is called now object-oriented Java, whereby now we say that now can we be able to relate any entity in the form of an object. Then these objects have got some features. Then we can be able now to describe these features as what? As methods. So for example, a feature called queer is an entity, or a feature called either of you, maybe Jefferson or who. So Jefferson, when you want to develop Jefferson, you have to look at what Jefferson is made up of. So Jefferson as an object has got some features. So for me to create the entity called Jefferson, I have to create it with what is called a class. So class Jefferson, because he is the object. Class queer, because it's the entity or the object. Now, queer itself or Jefferson has got some features. He has got the head as Jefferson, he has got the hands, he has got the legs. So he decided that now this object has got features. Now, every feature needs to be developed independently. And then we can call their main, using their main methods. Now, inside what? The main class. So that now they can all be executed as one. The reason why it was that it is good to develop these programs in a modular form than developing them in a continuous or structured form the way you use in structured programming. Because when it comes to debugging and solving and also deployments and testing, you take longer time when you're using structured format. But when you're doing it in the modularized state in object oriented programming, then you can be able to develop one section and complete, do the testing, and deploy it. Then you go now to the next phase or the next package, handle it until you complete all of them. Then execute them now as ones. For instance, you are developing things like ERP, Enterprise Resource Plan. This is a section that normally has segments or modules. For example, for Queer, you have the student side, then you have the staff side, and the entire other activities. You have the admissions, you have the registrar, you have the finance, and then you have academic areas and so on. So you can decide to break them into segments, then start launching one by one, one by one. Although with the dynamic uh, Microsoft Dynamics nowadays, you can easily just actually there's no much coding. It's just about incorporating it within the 365 for an ERP system. So it's just drag and drop and so on. Just some nonsense things. But they look so easy to you can build whatever you want to build for long, and things work best. Now, object oriented, we say that everything is in the object form. And examples of this is that C++ is also in the object-oriented format, but now Java has a certain compilation state that it uses the virtual machine, what's called the JVM, to be able to Java virtual machine to do the compilations of codes and other things. Now, why do we use Java? Why do we use Java? And why is Java widely used? It's because of its simple structure. It's simple. Java is designed to easy to learn. It's more secure. With Java, security is high. Then we have architectural neutral, where you have the Java compiler generates an architecture, neutral object file formats, and so many other things there. So they have a better architectural structure. Uh, they are also very portable because you can be able to use them to implement dependent aspects of, of specifications, but still you can also as well as reuse it. You can use this code here and still carry it to use somewhere else as long as you know how to link them up. Then robust. Java makes an effort to eliminate errors, prone situations, and also the multi-threaded. It's possible to write programs that can perform many tasks simultaneously. So they can even multitask and so on without running short of memory. Interpreted. Interpreted. We talk about Java bytecodes can be translated from one native language to another. That's why you have to create that and then compile it to have the jar files. Now the jar files can now be executed or can be converted now into .exe now for installation and setup. They have good performance. So just within a time, Java enables high performance to take place and work. Then we also have distributions. They can be distributed from one environment to another. That's why we have ASP type of Java that you can be able to use it to develop what's called the web applets or the web apps. So with Java, you can design web apps and desktop apps so easily. They are also dynamic. They can be able to evolve from one environment to another. So about the history of Java, these are stories that we have already finished. We are now to look at the requirements. Java requires systems that have good processors, um, high memory, and large storage. But what are the IDEs that we have to use? So the tools that I want you to download and ensure that you have them are JDK. That is from version 8 and above, but I can recommend that you use the current JDKs that are available. You can visit Oracle platform because they are offered by Oracle, which is the giant of database infrastructure. So, in simple terms, we are saying that you can get to the online and then search for JDK. So go here, do JDK downloads. If you're using Windows or whatever, you can be able to choose. So you have to access it in this Oracle platform. Once you are here, I want you to hover here and then select. So do you want JDK 26 or do you want JDK 25 or do you want JDK 21? So all of them. So JDK 26 is the currently released, but I know it's not that much stable, then you might end up using JDK 25. But still, you can be able to use that because down here it can be able to tell whether they are stable or not. So, if you are running Linux, then you can download this version of Linux, but specifically go to and download the package. So, you can easily do with this star so that you can extract it and then install this or this compressed one. If you're using Mac, then you can as well as use this the installer or this star. It's easier so that or this pin so that this one here, this one, not this one. You can use this, then you can run it. But for Windows people, you can use this second one, 64 installer setup. This which is stable, and it is .exe, not .zip, .exe file or not .msi. Use this .exe. I think can be able to zoom. Uh, I hope you are seeing that, right? That one. So you can download that. So if you want to download that, you just click here, and there you go. The download setups begin here. Then let me cancel because I have mine. Then the other thing that you need to use is NetBeans. NetBeans. So download NetBeans. So you'll come to the Apache NetBeans releases. Click that and then come here. So this is the current release, NetBeans 29, which was released on February 2026. If you want the older ones, you can click here, find out. and then you get 28, 27, and so on. So because these ones are more stable, so you can choose to use these ones, and then if the need for update is there, then you can be able to pick 29. But still you can use 29 since it was released in February. Then by now I believe it is stable. But to avoid a lot of patches and so on, you can use 28, which has been stable for a while now, or also just that 26. No worries. Yeah. So you just click that and then you download. Uh, so I believe you are downloading these things. Oh, find that now I don't have Netflix. Is this a joke? Oh, oh, it seems like I don't have. Fine. Let me download this. So I want to download. So you can see now how swans they seem to be. It's not that stable. So let me download the old one. Yeah, installer package. Yeah, click that. It's been zip. I see. You just download this. Platform independent source. So you want platform independent. Click. Yeah. Then the setup will begin to download. Now, after that, now we want to do the configurations after the download has happened. So let the download be taking place. Let the download be taking place. Those are these ones. So for us now to begin the setup, we can begin, but I know that you have not yet finished downloading them. So I leave that for today. Therefore, for that section, we'll leave it so that I can move to the next phase. But these are the local environment and so on. So I've just summarized this. So we've talked about the IDE and the JDK and setting up the environment. So setting up the environment is now what we shall be able to do next. And then we shall start with the first demo section, lesson 2, now to configure this and complete. I think that is important there, and you have noted that. Now, I want now to explain about these concepts in object-oriented programming. So, as the download is continuing, so what's computer programming? So, in computer programming, we talk about talk about an algorithm, which is mostly step by step procedures that we apply to handle uh, that we apply to solve a problem. Um, that is very important. Um, one does now to look at some basic syntax here before we look at the object oriented terms. I think it's good to look at these terms faster. Yes. Yeah. So can be able to look at these some basic syntax in object oriented. What is an object? So let's look at this. An object, we say it is an entity under consideration. Like objects have states or behaviors. Examples: a dog has got colors, names, and so on. But they do some behaviors such as wagging their tails, barking, eating, uh, and so on. So an object is an instance of a class. So when but what is a class? We say is a blueprint that describes the behavior or the state that the object of its type supports. Methods is basically a behavior or a characteristic of an object. A class can contain many methods. It is a method where you can write all the features, all the activities, data, how it behaves, and everything, and all the actions that you want them to be executed. Then we have the instance variables, where each object has its own unique set of instance variables. An object state created by the values assigned to the variable at hand. For instance, you are dealing with a simple object-oriented program code here. Like so, mostly when writing programs, Java programs, you don't start with standard input, output, whatever, or IO something. So here you start with public class. Public class. Why is it public? Because it needs to be accessible elsewhere. Access modifiers. So when you use public, then it means that it can be accessed by every child. If it's private, then it means that it's not accessible by other childs, but can be accessed internally within the same class. Then the main function of Java starts from this area here. And for you to have the main class of Java, you start with public static void main. Then you define the string and the arguments that exist. Then everything that is now inside here that you are printing out, like if it is now hello world, you have to use it as system.out.println. Print line, print ln, not print f or scan f. Here it's print line. Then for you to run Java within the CLI or the command line area, then you have to use the term javac, then followed by the your class name dot java. For instance, now we open here prompt. You have to check if your JDK is running. So we can run as the administrator here, run your command prompt. I believe you are seeing all that on your side. Yes. Once you have this, then we can be able to, let me edit this to increase the font. Let me go to the properties and increase the font size to around 36. I believe you can now see very clearly. Let me put it 72. This has become too big. So here you do javac and press enter. Once you see this, then it's too big. Once you see this output in your interface, you can see here it tells you about read options, file, and so on. So can be able to execute that. So let me do prompt, sorry, command prompt. Command prompt or CMD. So I'm running it as an administrator. Then you can do Java, press enter. So once you see this, means that it tells you, it tells us what module path, this, so many things here, the version and so on. So this already shows me that Java is inside because you can see it's available. So for us to test the version that is available, then we have to run java dash space, then you can say version. So you can see that I'm running Java version 25. Java version 25. This is the command java space dash dash version. So I'm running Java version 25, JDK version 25. So if I want to check the code here, I can do javac, then it can show you all that. So if I want to run, for instance, a Java class that exists, then I'll have to say javac, then followed by the Java class that is available. For instance, that within my local disk, I have what I call Java projects, so I can look for it. Java projects, yeah, Java codes or Java projects. Can talk about Java projects here. So we have a class here. Is a hotel management system here. There is this class here, and these are the sources. So let's say that I wanted to open about this employee and salary within the polymorphism. So you see, this is the area where this file is. So what do? I want to get to this area here. So first of all, I'll say D. Sorry, I'll first of all say D. Uh, Change the directory to D. So I've changed the directory to local disk D. Now I'm in local disk D. So where is the file? It is in Java project square. So if I want to go there, I'll do this, because if I want to check the entire, I'll say dir, so that I get to find all the files here, all the folders. So the folders, then I have Java projects. So it's here. So if you have this, so for me to get there, Java projects square. So I have to do cd Java projects square. So inside that file, so inside this we have this folder called dit008 method, because I want to run this employee Java. So I'll say here cd change directory dit008 method. So I'm inside that folder. Now if I do dir, I'll be able to see the two files here inside source. So I'll say cd src. So I'm inside here. If I say dir, it will now show me methods, polymorphism, inheritance, which are inside there. Now I'll say I want to go to methods. Now I'm inside methods. Now I can now be able now to say dir, and then I'll be able to see here minimal examples and so on. So if I check here, this one was on polymorphism. So what I'll have to do is I'll do this and then back one step. Oh, I've gone back so bad. CD, instead I would have used the dash dash to go back behind, but still, like, let me just get there again. Java projects where cd I can say dit 08 method. Now cd src. Now cd polymorphism. Let me see what is there here. Now cd, then I'll get into polymorphism. Now inside here, now I'll do diff to see what files are there, employee.java. So I'll now say java employee.java in order to run this. If I press enter, I can see that it has shown me that I have some two errors here. What if I want to run salary.java? So that is it. So you can see that location, there are some three errors here. But if we do this, like that backwards a bit, then I can do this. I want to get to methods, so I can do cd methods. Then let me check what do I have inside. Minimum java. So what if I do java minimum dot java, press enter. So the file is there, it's running, but with some errors here, things about the method issues and so on. So but when we compile on the other side, you'll be able to see there's one error here within the package issue. So that is how you can be able to run and execute any program. So you can clear that. uh, so that's how you can be able to access your files there. So I think I have covered that part there. So what are the basic syntax within the Java programming? One is they are very case sensitive. So when you're dealing with Java, you have to keep these very important issues about Java. Number one, they are very case sensitive. Where you have used lowercase l, for example, print line, and then instead of putting there the lowercase p and then you put there capital letter P, it will not work. So it detect it very fast. When writing public static void main and you are writing public capital P static start with S capital S, then you are starting with capital V, it will also give you an error. So they are very case sensitive. So class names, for all class names, first letter should be in the uppercase if you are starting with class names. So the first letter should always be a capital letter. If several words are used within the same line, you have to use what is called concatenation approach while capitalize each word within the text. So you have to use like my first Java class. So how many words are these? How many words are they? My is one, first is one, is second, Java is third, class is fourth. So you can say my first Java class, but ensure that my M is capital, F is capital, and so on. Then method names. All method names should start with lower cases. You don't have to start with uppercase for that area. like public void my method name. So you have to start with a lowercase. If the method is hand, then let it start with a uh, lowercase. Then program file name. This is the name of the program file that should exactly match the class name. And then public static void main is a Java program processing that starts with the main method. So this is where every compilation will now be done. This is the main class of Java. So everything will be compiled inside here. Therefore, it's very, very important for you to note these key points when writing Java programs. We have what is called Java identifiers. So you need to know what are these identifiers. So all Java components requires the names. And these names are used for classes, variables, and methods. Mostly we call them identifiers because they help you to identify these components, these names, these classes, these entities. So there are several points to remember about identifiers. They are as mostly we normally use some key components to refer to them. So all identifiers should begin with a letter. Either they can begin with a letter, currency, or the dollar sign, or an underscore. That is the rule or the property of every Java identifier. The second property of identifier is that after the first character, identifiers can have any combination of characters. The third one is that a keyword cannot be used as an identifier. Please do not use keywords as identifiers like float and double, whatever. So do not use that. Then most important is that identifiers are case sensitive. Identifiers are very case sensitive. For instance, you are writing about age, salaries, and so on. So you need to, if it is money like salary is being represented in dollar sign because you have some currency on it. Data types like age and so on, these are, for example, integers, but can have int, age, and so on. Then Java modifiers, like other languages. Mostly, we use modifiers within our classes, within our methods, and mostly we do them in two main categories. That is access modifiers, which are default, public, protected, and private. So you saw the other time when we were starting a class. So we were doing public class, gems, public class, queer, public class, CMT to 11, and so on. So we use, there are four types: the default one, the private, protected, and private. We shall see when we look at Java modifiers so that we get to get the differences between both of them: default, public, protected, and private, and also use them within a code. Then we have non-access modifiers, which uses some terms like final, abstract, or strict FP for file print. That is it. So that is what we have in that area. Then we have what are called Java variables. And for us to have Java variables, we are saying that Java variables are reserved words or areas where they play a better role to store some contents for you. So you use it to reserve a bucket or a storage point for this thing to be represented, or a value or an integer or a data type to be stored. So we have, so you can use it to declare which type of a variable or which type of element are you going to use. Is it an integer? Is it a float? Is it a double? Then you have to declare variables before you initialize them. So as you declare them, either you can declare them as local variables or as static variables or instance variables, global or local. So you know the differences of this because you handle object oriented one in when dealing with C++. Java arrays. These are objects that store multiple variables of the same type, not just storing variables. They must be of the same type. Then we have the term called Java enums. Enums were introduced to restrictly having the variables to have one or of the only few predefined values that you need to identify with. For example, a list and so on. So you can enumerate some values within your code. For instance, now here we have a class called fresh juice, a class called fresh juice, and so on. So we can be able to write that code to I'll explain that in details when we look at all these components. Just for instance, this class called juice, fresh juice. So fresh juice, you want to list all categories of fresh juice. So you'll use what is called enumerate the list of the fresh juice. So you'll put the list of the fresh juice inside the brackets and then list them small, medium, large, or juice called Fanta or whatever, mango juice, pineapple juice, or whatever. You can list them there. Then you declare them with their size. Then you now go to the class fresh juice test, and then you can now start the main class and now call your class there and then call your juices there and then define what you want it to do, the properties or the behavior of the juice that you want it to be seen. So for instance, here we are printing out the size of the juice, so to be the medium one, which is already declared here. um Keywords. What are keywords? These are reserved words that are not used as constants or variables. For instance, abstracts, case, const, batch, boolean, catch, characters, break, default, class. Those are keywords. Do, for, import, long, private, short, protected, public, all that, strict FP, super, void, all those are keywords. So you don't use them as identifiers. Remember that. So comments. How do you comment in object-oriented programs? Either you can use a block commenting style or single line commenting approach. So either you can use the double backslash or you can use the backslash with the asterisk and then you end with the star, then the backslash for a block or a group of comments. And comments are single lines or multiple lines that are always ignored by the compiler. So they cannot be, you can use them to explain or to describe the functionality or the method that you are in or what you are doing in that code, just to help your other programmer friends that you wish to share the coding with, to be able to understand what you are doing. So either you can use the blank lines within, so a line containing only white space, possibly with the comment, is mostly what we call as the blank line. So if asked to state what is a blank line as used in Java, then it simply means the white space that is possibly with a comment. So we are going to look at some terms such as inheritance, interfaces, and so on in the next session. So because I wanted us now to look at the objects and classes, but then uh, let me now summarize it with something here in terms of the definitions and what we you can as well as capture or cover within today, because I wanted some terms here to be elaborated and to be understood. So let me explain something on this area here. Now, object oriented programming, mostly we use that to design or to set up a programming language that mostly it was an old procedure of programming style, and it used these things of C, Pascal, and so on. So most of the things in OOP are always grouped as a self-sustainable object and then being handled in a separate state. Um, I think we've talked about these categories and examples. Hybrid OOP languages, you have Java, C++, and so on. We have Python, Scala, and Smalltalk as pure OOP languages, but then hybrid ones are this Visual Basic, VBNet, Pascal, C Sharp, and Java. So we have to note about some key basic terminologies here. What is an object? Is an entity. So we have also looked at that. Let's just look at these classes and objects. So a class is a prototype or an idea or a blueprint for creating objects. And an object is an instance of a class, which we have also said. Then a class has what is called a constructor. Why? Because they help in creating objects. So the classes are comprised of three things. That is the name, the attributes or properties, and the method. So you can say public class, class juice, then so there are several things that you can be able to do there. So that is the key component here about classes. So a class has class properties and methods, while every class must have its own object, and for every object must have instance properties as they belonging to the object. See that? So classes and objects. We tell you that a class is a definition of objects with the same properties and the same methods. For example, you are talking about a class bicycle. So a bicycle has cadence, which is an integer, speed, which is an integer, and gear box as an object. So you can now use methods here to explain every activity that is being done by every component of this bicycle as declared here as variables. So speeding up, you use increasing the speed, changing the gear, changing the cadence, and then applying the brakes and so on. So you can write them now separately like that. So the class examples you have, maybe for example, accounts. Accounts have the owner, has the balances, has account number and transaction logs. So those are called what? Behaviors or characters or elements within that. Then we have account of deposits. So when you're doing the deposit account, you need to have the interest rates. If you have the current account, then you have to have an overdraft limit. So almost everything in the world can be represented as an object. That is true. A flower is an object, a tree, an animal, a student, myself here as a professor, a desk, a chair, and so on. The world, the universe, the school, the institutions, and so on. So all that are objects. So an object we have said is an instance of a class. Simple as that. So objects like physical entities, conceptual entities, and software entities are all objects. An object is a computational entity that number one, it encapsulates some states, is able to perform actions or methods on these states, and it can communicate with other objects via the messaging passage, which is very, very essential. Then classes, for example, a car. A car has got some methods. That's the activities that are being done by the car. Number one, it can move forward, can move backwards for the reverse, it can move to the right, the left, and it can also stop. Then it also has got some properties. What is the color of the car? What is the plate number? What is the manufacturer? What is the model of the car? What is the gear type it uses? So you need to see what is the difference between the properties and the methods. Properties are now the features of this, while the methods are now the activities that the car can do. It can move, it can do what? So those are the methods. A class time. Time has got characteristics of or segments. Either you are dealing with the hours or minutes. And within time, you also have to specify at what time did this person arrive or how long did it take? 8 hours? How many minutes? So the method, can you add the time or add minutes and so on. So that is how you can be able to represent this. So each copy of an object from a particular class is what we call as an instance of the class. A copy of the object from a particular class is what we call as an instance of the class. Instantiation. Instantiation is the act of creating a new instance of a class within the other section. So when you are creating a duplicate here of the other class that shows the same activity, then you are doing instantiation. Instantiation. So that is very key there for us to note about object oriented. So you have differences about classes and objects. We talk about a class being a data type, object being an instance of a class, classes being it generates objects, while objects gives life to a class. Classes do not occupy memory locations, while objects will always occupy the memory location because we have to assign them with data types. It cannot be manipulated because it is not available in the memory, while objects you can always manipulate or edit the value. Objects need collaborations, so you can collaborate with these objects. Each object is responsible for its own behavior and status. No one object can carry out a responsibility on its own. So those are the things. Then we can now be able to look at other concepts here in the near future about encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism. Just the definitions here. To encapsulate, when you have an inclusion of a property and a method within a class or an object in which it needs a function property. So when you say you are encapsulating, you are hiding, you are protecting the method and properties from the client classes. That is encapsulation. So there are so many things about encapsulation which I don't want to talk today. We shall handle them. Inheritance is just a way of organizing classes, and what we mean is that you can a child class can inherit. Sorry, the parent class can inherit all the child's properties when it is now for easy execution. So if you have a subclass and a superclass, which tends to be absorbed inside the main class, then you are inheriting some characters. So to inherit its attributes, methods, or subclasses, and so on within the main is what we can refer to that as that. I'll give a very simple definitions on that. Today is just a breakthrough, just to have a beginning and a starting point to know about these things. I think I would wish to end this session here so that you can first of all complete with the downloads of those files. Then after you have downloaded and you have done the installation, I want you to go inside your once you have installed the JDK, you are required to go to your section here, go to local disk C, go to Java program files, look for Java, look for Java, look for Java here. This is the area. So once you find that part, you can easily now click that. So this is what I have as my version. So if you have 2026, you'll see it there 26. So you'll have to click there. And now once you find this area here, within the directory, you can see the directory where you are, and within here you have these files here. Mm. So you need to get into this bin, this one here. Okay. Or nowadays when you are installing it, some always it auto configures itself within the directory part on the environment. But if it does not, then you have to do what I am saying. So you get here into the bin, and now once you are inside bin, you can now be able now to copy this here, this directory. So what do? You click here, you click that part so that you can have this picked. So this is what you'll copy. So what you'll do is you copy this, copy that. And then what do you have to do? Click just the Windows tab, then go for environment edit, search for it. So once you have this environment edit area here popped out, you can easily now click it. Can easily click it now. So let's say you search for that, you click it. So this area, this window here will appear. This window here will appear. See? So what you are supposed to do is come here to the environment variable. Environment variable. Then you click it. Once you have clicked it, this window here will appear, environment variable. So I don't want you to go to the user variables, but you have to come to the system variables. So in the system variables, I want you to select this path, this path. If you don't have it, then you'll have to add by clicking new. But because ours already exist, you'll just use this one, edit. So you'll click this and then click edit so that you have this path. So once you click that, this new window will be opened and you are in the environment here. So my Java JDK is here. You can see it is here. If you don't have it or you want to edit it, you just click it, then you click edit. If you don't have one, then you can just click new, yeah, and then you'll be able to add it there. So for instance, that now I want maybe to add or to edit this one, I just click that and then I'll be able to paste what we had copied there. Or if I want to add a new one, then I just do this, then I click here and then I say paste. So you see this has come there. So this one here. So either you can use this or you can remove the bin so that you maintain it just as this JDK 2025. There are no problem because the files that you are getting them are these ones. So I can just delete this one if I want to delete. If you want to move it up, you can use this, move up, move down. You can browse, you can delete, you can do whatever thing you want to do. But this is the environment. Then you can click OK, click OK, and then click OK. Once you do that, now when you come now to your command prompt here, and now you say Java, you'll now be able now to see it shows you that. Now if you want now to see now the version, you can now say Java dash dash version and press enter. Then you'll be able to see that. But if you press if you type there Java and then you press enter and then it tells you that the command is not known by the PowerShell or whatever, then it means that your Java JDK is not installed, and therefore you need to install it and configure it. Sometimes you have installed it, but you have not configured it. So mostly you might get that Java is not recognized as an internal or external command. Okay, that is what you might be able to get things like that. So you can be able to fix that by doing what I've said. Add that into the environment. Then after that now is when now you can be able now to install the NetBeans. It's when you can now be able to install the NetBeans. So I think my NetBean here has been downloaded. I can be able to extract it. Let me see. Yeah. So once the download is done, you can easily find it there, and then you can be able to open some files there, IDE. So these are the config versions and so on, but still you can download the standalone. So you can just let me leave that one there first, but so it's still breaking that. So you can easily delete that, but still you can come here and then say netbeans standard or installer. Then you come here, and then you can get these netbeans here, and then you can do the download here. So you'll see it running, and then the download will begin. So here is the file. This is a standalone. So once we have this, you can now be able to install it. So that's the link here. Let me see, what was this? NetBeans IDE. Or we can be able to see here. Community approval on the setup. Installer. Then we want priority packages. Yeah. So here it is. Now you can click this. So that's what you need to do here. Once you are in this window, you have to click here installer. Then once you come here, you have to click here Codelarity package. So once you are here now, you can be able to come here to Apache. Now if you are running Linux or whatever, you can pick there, but what I want is for Windows, so I'll click here Windows. Then do they want to buy coffee and whatever? Let me see. Let me see here. Oh, they avoided the installer setups nowadays. So when you download as a package. think can still use this one, the one that downloaded here. Then we can do that. I can just do the downloading the installer. So that's the NetBeans. So it will take some few minutes. So what I'll do, I'll post the video. Hello, let's do this attendance faster. So mhm. Michelle, mm, Michelle,
Present. Present.
Ted Letoyo Tiabolo, Tialolo, Ted faster, Alex Maina,
Present.
Nzue Mutunga,
Present.
Alexis Nareri,
Present.
Jacqueline Jepchumba,
Present.
Beth Okot,
Present.
John Mark Odera,
Present.
Faith Sheril,
Present.
Bran Kimemia,
Present.
Paul Kiraka, Maina, absent. Brayla Nekesa,
Present.
Sophie Kate, Israel, Nicole Nyarwai, Whitney Mudoni, Georges Biona Musana, Nabirugu Kazege, Deborah, Jacinta Cavalli.
Present.
Right. So who is sending a chat? Huyo ni nani huyo? Georges Musana. Hmm. Okay. George Musana. Then who else is there? Can see Nicole. Nicole is also present. All right. So Sophie is not there. Deborah. Deborah, you have a problem with your mic. Okay. Fine. So, Whitney, Sophie, and Paul, Mina, and Ted. You find those people to attend classes. Um, so this is where that is May, August 2026. So CMT 211 OOP2. Now this is the class attendance. Attendance on 19th May 2026. Okay, cut. Where May, yeah. All right, I think this one is also done and run. So this is my NetBeans now. Can do the create this shortcut. Let's do the installer. So my installer is happening there now. I would wish to end there so that we can proceed next week. So ensure that you have downloaded those files and installed. Uh, for us to have a better session next time. Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? I think I can attach you this file so that you proceed from your end there. Uh, So I've shared the file for your setup for installation. Yeah, it's so big. Should I attach it on the link? No, you can use the file extension that I've shared up here. Use this, open it, then it will download for you. Open this, and it will open for you that so that you can be able. So mine is done here. That is my NetBeans. It's working now. So you can install those files. Uh, when that file on your side, it will direct you to the download sections. Then you do the download. Mine is here now fully. So you can start something. Uh, when starting these files, normally you can start first with like a project or open a project, or you can start a new file. So in case you want just a file, you can just do this, and then it is which type, maybe just Java, or is it React or what. So but if you want to run some good Java files, then you have to start with a project so that you can use Java with Maven or Java with Ant. So mostly you can use Java with Ant, because Maven you're not using a web app. So use Java with Ant. Yeah, this is where you can have the object oriented files. That is what you can be able to do. Then go next. Go next. So it will configure the files. It is going to activate the Java SE. So I am very direct. I've said you start with Java project, then go to Java Ant. Sawa sawa. Then call it CMT 211. Call it CMT 211. Then let the class main class here be very keen. This here, main class here, uncheck it, because you might have so many things inside. So uncheck this. Ensure this is unchecked. So we are unchecking this. Then can you choose the path, the directory where you want to do your to save your projects. Mostly save the projects where even if your computer crashes, you still have access to the files or to the projects. So I recommend you put it outside local disk C. So that means that it can be local disk D. So I want to browse mine. Go to local disk D completely. That's where now I want to save my files here under Java projects. Yeah, this is where I want to save my files. There. So ensure that you have all these unchecked. So this one here is unchecked. This one here is also unchecked. And your folder here, you have picked the correct area where you want to save your projects, where they cannot get lost. Our project name is CMT to 11. Then you can finish. The reason why I've unchecked the main, but if you are building a project like it is a system, then you must have the main class. That can be your login page or the register page. So mostly it's login. So that when somebody opens your software, it goes to the login page. So this is now where we are going now to start building our applications. So already here in the JDK, it shows you the default value of JDK you are using. Uh, then the package area here is every program must have its own package. So every class. So here we shall create here the package. We shall create packages here based on the activity that we are doing. If we are dealing with encapsulation, we put there the package encapsulation. So for instance, we can just start here with a new package, and then we shall call it introduction. Introduction. Then we shall finish with that. So right now we have this introduction. And now if you want now to write the hello world code, then you can now be able now to create it here. Create a Java file, a Java class. So you come here, then you start a class here. Right click, then go new, go new. So we click here, and you go to new class. So give the class name. What do you want to say? What is the name of the class? That is where you can be able to put that class name. So let's say our class name is hello world. So you don't separate them. If you do this, it's case sensitive, so it will not. You will see here there's a warning down here that class name is invalid. So we say that when you are doing that, you have to use these two names following each other, but you capitalize this as we said within the identifier. So hello world, and then you click finish. So that is our code class there. So it's inside here that you can now be able now to say print public void static. You can say maybe public static void main, and then you can say here the string with some array and say args, then open here like that. Then you can say now system dot out dot print line. Then you can open the bracket here, put this, then say hello world, hello world there. So these are comments. You can just remove that. So this is our first code here, and you're seeing it how it looks. So that's the code I've written here very fast. Then you can now be able to save it, and then for you to run it, you can be able to click here, run, then say run the file, so that you can see here is the output down here, hello world. So this is the output here. this one. Hello world. So that is what you are supposed to do. So ensure that you use that, complete that. Then we are going now to move very fast with the coding. Unless you have a question for me, I would wish to end there. Okay. So thank you. Let's meet next lesson. Goodbye.
Bye.